Welcome to Second Take, the show that takes a look at the issues behind the news. Mineral Resources and Energy Minister Gwede Mantashe made some significant announcements this week. Terence joins me to discuss the highlights. Hi Terence.
Hi Chanel.
First, the preferred bidders for the emergency program were unveiled.
That's correct. There were 8 preferred bidders announced at the briefing on Thursday. And of those 8, the big ticket items were the power ships, car power ships. They got 1,200 megawatts of the sort of 1,800 megawatts that was allocated under a 2,000 megawatt procurement scheme. There are some other projects that are eligible but didn't pass muster immediately, and they're going to reevaluate those projects, re-engage to see if they can get those additional megawatts onto the grid. But basically this risk mitigation independent power producer program, which has been on the cards since the integrated resource plan of 2019 was released all the way back at the end of 2019, is now behind us. And it's really, this was supposed to bring emergency power onto the grid as quickly as possible. There were quite a few delays in getting the tender documents out. Then the market response required a little bit additional time, so eventually the bids were submitted towards the end of last year, and now we have the preferred bidders. These projects now need to get to financial close in the next couple of months and get shovels in the ground or sail your ship into the harbour in the case of the power ships, and then connect to the grid by sort of August 2022.
The role of the power ships was not unexpected, but it is controversial.
Yes, I think when the tender documents came out, there was a view that these were almost tailor-made for this sort of solution. And then there was a concern about the environmental impacts, the local content, the gas procurement around these projects. Nevertheless, they have been named as a large part of the preferred bidder mix, and now it's about delivery and meeting their obligations. And it will be interesting to see because how these projects evolve, because these are very long power purchase agreements, 20-year power purchase agreements. These power ships or barges that come into the harbours and are docked are generally about stopgap emergency solutions, but now we're looking at a fairly long time horizon for this. So it will be interesting to see how the public responds, whether there's any reaction, but it is a big part of the preferred bidder mix this time round.
The Minister also confirmed that the renewables procurement will resume after a long delay.
I think that was the highlight of the Minister's briefing. You know, we've had no procurement, even though we've had a power crisis now since 2008. We got into a mode of procuring regularly from 2011 onwards. But since 2014, not one bidding round has been announced. And we remember that very well when Eskom decided so that they had sufficient capacity and they would no longer procure renewable electricity, and they stopped from about 2015 being willing to sign power purchase agreements. That changed with the change of administration when Cyril Ramaphosa took over, and we saw those projects that were legally procured all the way back in 2014 eventually starting to reach financial closure and get built. So we've got those projects now slowly integrating onto the grid as we speak. But there's now been this hiatus of 7 years where we haven't built any renewable energy projects. Unfortunately, that means a lot of manufacturing capacity that was starting to mushroom around our regular procurement has been lost. So it's going to be interesting to see how the new projects meet any new local content commitments. But it is a definite highlight. We're going to start moving ahead with 2,600 megawatts is the initial tender, and that's in line with the first 3 years of the integrated resource plan of 2019. Looks to procure a certain amount of wind and solar. More wind, and you'll see in the initial tender 1,600 megawatts of that will be wind and 1,000 megawatts will be solar PV. So that will start getting going, and then in August we'll have the next bid window, so we'll move speedily from bid window 5 to bid window 6, and then by March we should have bid window 7. And what will be interesting first to see is what's in these bid documentations, how different are they from the 2014 versions, and then how those bid documents evolve as industries sort of emerge around what is going to be a consistent, hopefully, and long-term procurement of renewable energy all the way to 2030 under this integrated resource plan. And it is very good that we're getting into implementation now, and it's very good that there's some visibility of rolling procurement, not the stop-start that has been very destructive to the renewables program in the past.
He also put pay to any major regulatory reform for self-generation projects.
Yes, you know, the President in his State of the Nation address this year, the highlight of that was really that we're going to get the distributed generation sector going as the cheapest and quickest way to bring electricity to the grid. We know from what Eskom's calculations are saying that we've got about a 4,000 megawatt gap over the next 5 years. The utility scale projects like these bid window 4 projects that are coming onto the grid, the completion of Medupi and Kusile, as well as these new, the emergency, the risk mitigation projects, and these solar and wind will start coming in to close that gap. But at the same time, Eskom's going to be decommissioning power stations over the next 3 to 5 years at quite a clip. So this gap is going to be quite difficult to close. So one of the ways of closing it, and really from a taxpayer perspective, a very good one, because no guarantees are needed from the taxpayer here. These are just projects that are, the off-taker will be the mine, the smelter, the factory, the farm. And that's where the risk, a lot of the risk will be, and with the bank, the financiers, obviously they'll need to pay Eskom or the municipality if they want to wheel any power across their networks. But generally it's a low risk, high reward type of opportunity. And the way to unlock that, some commentators are saying, is to lift the licensing exemption threshold, which is currently a measly 1 megawatt to 50 megawatt, and really get this market going and make it easy for large power consumers to build their own generation capacity. What the Minister has announced is that he's not prepared to go beyond 10 megawatts. 10 megawatts is a lot better than 1, and I think a lot of mines in particular will be able to work within that limit, and they'll have multiple projects. He did emphasize that if you're fully self-consuming and no electron is moving outside your fence, you can have as big as you want. You can go to 1,000 megawatts, but that's an impractical type scenario. It's not going to happen, so it's really a red herring. It's really about are our regulatory structures in place facilitating this sort of investment. At the moment, definitely not. At 10 megawatts, it is better, but it would have been far better if it had lifted that cap all the way up to 50 megawatts.
Thank you. That's the Second Take show for this week. Thank you for watching, and join us again next time for more news analysis. Also, don't forget to listen to the audio version of our Engineering News Daily email newsletter.